It's car con carne. Let's eat in the car. It's car con carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
This right here is Car Con Carne. I'm James Van Oswald. Car Con Carne, not recording in the car tonight. Car Con Carne, tucked away behind Livewire Lounge in the Avondale neighborhood of Chicago. Bask is here. The North Carolina band Bask is here performing tonight. I'll be talking to them. But first, what you should know is that Car Con Carne is sponsored by Exploding House Printing, a local Chicago business. I mean, they'll work with anyone nationally, but they're based in Hermosa here in Chicago, and they handle screen printing, embroidery, all the merch stuff that a band needs, an artist needs, a brand needs. They've worked with everyone from the Broke Downs to Dante's Pizzeria to the Chicago Botanic Garden. They do amazing work. You can see their entire client list at explodinghouseprinting.com. And the guy behind it, he's incredible, Jonathan at Exploding House. He's been doing this for decades, which means he knows what he's doing, and he can help you elevate the merch you're creating. He delivers production efficiency and cost awareness to offer boutique print shop quality at much lower large print shop prices. Again, check them out at explodinghouseprinting.com, or if you want to look at pretty pictures, they're on Instagram at Exploding House. No Blue Chew here. We're keeping it local. I'm joined by Zeb and Ray of the band Bask.
So great to be here. Thanks for having us.
I'm so glad to connect. I love your band. Bask just put out, last year, their epic, most recent album, The Turning. And this is something that stayed with me well into this year. We're halfway through 2026. It's psych, it's prog, it's atmospheric, it's rock, it's country. The whole thing is a majorly awesome vibe. It's like if someone told me, what if everything you like about music is in the same band? You're like the turducken of rock, really.
We've been saying that for years. The culinary equivalent is the turducken for us.
Right.
Yeah.
You're the turkey, you're the duck, you're the chicken, all in one band, all in one magical band.
That's why Zeb has it tattooed on his back.
That's right. It's my full back piece.
You had to go for 2 visits to get that done.
It took 4.
Oh, yeah,
one for each bird,
Couldn't get that knocked out. A lot has been made about the different sounds you create, you merge, you synthesize, the genres you straddle. If I had to guess, that's probably not even something you think about. You just make music, right? Like, all of us music fans were like, I can't believe that, this sounds like country. This sounds like, but that's just where you're at.
It just comes from the tension of writing songs together and everyone's influences and background and what excites them and what they're listening to at the time of what we're working on, and it just sort of all comes out that way. There's definitely a positive push and pull towards different sounds and influences, and the way we hear things different. Ray will play a riff and then I'll play a riff on top of it, and it completely changes the way that interacts with the listener. It's all just layers of our personalities and the way we work together.
Personality is probably what you grew up listening to.
Totally.
What you listen to now. Hey, how is that songwriting process, that give and take, evolved? You've been doing this long enough. How has it evolved from the start?
Yeah, I feel like when we first started, it was a little bit more one individual would present basically the full extent of the song. It'd be like, okay, now it's all dressed up. But I'd say in the last 2 records, it's been nope, we want more of a collaborative effort. And so here's just a little handful of a riff, and oh, cool, you got a riff to add, and cool. And then we dress this skeleton until it turns out to something that we beat the dog shit out of until we love it.
That's interesting. So everything's kind of finely tuned before you lay it down? Because when I listen to the songs, it feels like there are some sonic explorations happening there, and that's already baked in. That wasn't something that just happened during the recording process?
Not typically during the recording process. Just with the way that production and the cost involved with it, we do a lot of work beforehand to really know what we're going to do once we get to a professional studio. In the mixing process and kind of afterwards, we have a little bit more freedom to be oh, let's try and like add some ear candy or like have some ideas there, but we really do kind of try and like lock in what the plan is. The only kind of way we veer from that is like on this last record we had some studio musicians come in, and you know we would be like, here's the track beforehand. They may or may not like dig into it and get an idea, but those moments with those players and stuff in the studio were a little bit more freeform and a little bit more unpredictable. The beginning of the record, Chasm, that first track, we did have all those musicians come in for kind of specifically different songs. We were like, hey, while you're here, this is in D, why don't you just play something now? And they're like, okay, cool. Can I listen to it beforehand? No, just do something. And that was kind of like, they got like 2 stabs at it, and then that was it. So every now and then we'll catch a little bit of magic like that. That's a lot of fun. But typically it's pretty fixed and worked out beforehand.
Yeah, we're treating like pre-production in studio like a part-time job. And on the last 2 records, sometimes like literally like rehearsing like 15 to 20 hours a week just to like get ready for 1 to 2 months beforehand. Yeah.
So listening to the turning, to me, I'm a big fan of album sequencing and just the album as a statement of art. I get the sense, I don't think I'm wrong, I get the sense that this is meant to be ingested as a complete work as opposed to a la carte.
Yeah, totally. I mean, we want it to be accessible like song by song, but really it is like a full piece, and that's kind of how we think about like record making. Is like we want it to feel cohesive and like a thing that you can start to finish like feel that it's different sections but one full thought together.
For all the genres you get lumped in with, the biggest genre of all isn't even a genre, I don't think. Your sound is cinematic. Whether that cinematic vibe takes the form of something rock or prog or whatever, like the whole thing, it feels fucking epic.
Thank you.
This could be the score to a film or like the background for a really cool graphic novel reading experience.
Yeah, thanks. It's always a goal of ours to take the listener on a journey with lots of peaks and lots of valleys and lots of dynamics. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a black metal and a death metal fan, but like, oh, take me down so that when you bring me back up, or take me soft so that when we get heavy, it just like hits a little bit harder. And that's always like a sonic goal of ours.
And a lot of artists, they subscribe to the write what you know. I mean, these songs lyrically are straight storytelling.
Yeah, I think that like personal songs can be like really beautiful and amazing, and I love like songwriters who write like that. But at the same time, it's like I'm kind of a boring person, and to keep my own like attention and excitement, I feel like
That's not true.
well, you know, I've got like a stable life, you know, and like a happy life, and so like
boring.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, but to keep my own attention, honestly, and just like I want that like jump off point of like a narrative or a story that like kind of keeps me excited and engaged. And it always ends up, when you look at it all like stretched out in front of you, it always ends up being like, oh, actually this is something that's happening in my life, and this is something like, this is aging, this is growing up, this is like the changes that I'm going through. That always ends up being in there, but like having like a narrative and a story to like help pull it out of you is, I find, really helpful and more fun for me than just, you know, writing about my own experiences.
Ray, you talked about, you know, take me down, take me up, or whatever you said, hard, soft, that balance. Coming out of Chasm, you have In the Heat of the Dying Sun, which moves from that beautiful psychedelic landscape into essentially a blunt force trauma, like right out of the gate in the beginning. And that really sets the stage for these dynamics you're talking about sonically.
Yeah. Obviously intentional. And when we were writing, we were like, okay, let's start out with something that feels like you're, you know, peyote in the desert kind of
totally.
vibe. You know what I mean?
The only one awake or alive
right,
at 3 o'clock in the morning, driving down a desolate road.
Exactly. And then, exactly, like setting the tone where it's like, oh, that's what this band does. Oh, I got it. And it's such like a fun set opener, too. Like, that's what we'll open up with tonight as well. It's like such a good way to get the fingers warmed up.
Sure.
And kind of just set the tone. It always gets like really good response, and it's really fun to play.
Your songs take a lot of turns. I mean, over the course of 4 to 6 minutes, you go in a lot of different directions. The Traveler, appropriately enough, moves around a lot. Lots of tempo and textural changes. This really does convey the sense of taking a trip, being a traveler. So mission accomplished there. Dig My Heels. This was, you guys put this one out, did a video for it. It goes from heavy crunchy rock to a country chorus. And it just works, and it shouldn't. And there's something almost sinister with how well you executed it.
Best compliment.
Yeah, for sure.
When people toss the heavy Americana title your way, I mean, this is the song they're thinking of, I think. This is the one.
Yeah, and I think it's just a perfect example of like the tension in the band and the push and pull and like I mean, I think even when we were writing that one, we were like, does this work?
Yeah,
like, we were unsure about it, and we kind of had like to be like, there was like some friction about it, and ultimately it ended up in the right place, you know, just by like following our guts, I think.
Yeah, because wasn't the working title like Tampa something? Because
Yeah.
like the main riff was like
Let's
Tampa
write a
death
metal riff.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
I came in, because I was actually not there when you guys started working on the song, and you were like,
right.
Zeb, we wrote a death
You're
metal
gonna hate,
riff.
you might hate this song.
And then I just was like, oh yeah, and put like a country chorus on it. Yeah.
And it's just wild and crazy enough. Before it gets quirky and goofy, like it works. Like you pulled back before it became kind of a novelty. It's just a cool song.
Got to come right up to the edge, you know.
Exactly. Talking about, you mentioned the tension in your songs. I mentioned the sonic exploration that you do. Unwound accomplishes both, I think. I love songs that build momentum, and that's what that song does. And that also speaks to the cinematic aspect of what. Tell me a little bit about that, because that's one that stuck out for me.
Oh man, that was actually one of the very first ones we wrote for this record.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
An early one.
Yeah, and then I remember like the middle section of that was like, oh, let's do like a cool little drone interlude, and then I think that's where it just builds and it crescendos and gets huge. And that song's another one that's like super fun to play and challenging for us.
I think that one, being an early one, honestly kind of set the tone for a lot of the rest of the tracks, and we didn't kind of realize it at the time. But looking back now, like it, talking about that momentum, like I think even when, you know, we'll have like a whiteboard and have like goofy names for all the parts, and as we're like working on stuff, but I feel like one of the riffs in there was like called like horse riff or something like that, because it has this like sense of like galloping movement to it, you know. And I think that sort of like got in our brains, and it sort of became like a theme, this like theme of like movement across the whole record.
So again, the album's The Turning. It's the Turning is the last track on the album. Going back to this thought that, you know, this is meant to be taken as a complete work, it was deliberate to put this at the end of the album sonically. It's definitely sludgier than the other tracks. Is this meant, I'm assuming, to be the final thought of whatever this statement is you're making with The Traveler?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. It's like sort of like, I kind of, when we were working on it, I kind of thought of like the album is like looking at like this big cycle of sort of like life, and it's like time travel-y and goofy and sci-fi, but like just this idea of like change being sort of constant and something that you're like fighting against but have to inevitably move with, and that kind of sort of summed up, I think, a lot of the like themes of the record.
Are you a sci-fi nerd?
I'm a Douglas Adams guy, but kind of fall short in a lot of other sci-fi fandoms personally. Like,
that's enough.
Yeah.
That's credible.
I like stuff that's like just I have to like be laughing to like engage with anything most of the time, honestly, and that really like scratches the itch for me.
Going back to how you evolved, how much did, you know, Chicago's local scene is varied. You know, there are lots of different subsets, little, you know, enclaves of sound and artistic perspectives. Did your local scene inform any of what you did, or did you kind of exist as an island when you were starting?
Oh yeah, I would say that's always an inspiration. Like,
really?
Oh yeah, like we, you know, absolutely love where we live, and then, you know, the mountains, and then, you know, we had kind of like a weird natural disaster that happened in the
right.
Like,
and your
and
studio was wiped out, or
yeah.
your rehearsal space?
Rehearsal studio.
Oof.
I mean, yeah, rehearsal space. And so I definitely think, like, granted, the album was recorded by then, but yeah, just, you know, from the artwork to the mixing to the mastering, and then having, you know, our community kind of go through that. There's like no way we could say that it wasn't, you know, part of that.
And how glad are you that you're here and are enjoying our polluted air after all that good mountain stuff?
Honestly, it's a gorgeous evening in Chicago. Like, totally beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, truly, you're here on what is a perfect night. It's like 75 degrees, light breeze. Like, this is what people in San Diego experience like 365 days a year. We get it like 3.
You could just come to Chicago today, and you'd be set.
It is so great. You're on the road now. Zeb, do you want to talk about what you did today in Chicago?
Ooh.
First of all, as we're recording this, it's Zeb's birthday.
Yeah.
May 29th.
That's right.
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for spending it
Of course.
in Chicago,
Happy
recording
to
this
be
podcast.
here. No better place in the world.
So what did you do for a birthday treat with the band?
We went and got a hot Italian sandwich at Johnny's, and it literally blew all of our minds.
It was amazing.
It was amazing.
Johnny's Beef in Elmwood Park, North
was
Avenue.
amazing.
There's nothing better.
It was so good.
Gosh. Yeah.
10 out of 10 would recommend.
Yeah.
And did you eat in the van or did you eat outside?
We ate outside.
Okay,
Yeah.
good, because that's
It would have been a
there are
bad
never enough
situation.
napkins.
No, like I can't imagine me balancing like the cup of gravy on my like leg, and I mean it would be a disaster. The van will be totaled.
yes.
Yeah.
It'd be over.
And it was awesome. It was like we got a little picnic table out there, and there was like a t-ball team that like rolled up on their bikes to get like Italian ice,
Yeah.
and then there was like locals behind us who were like raising hell. And
The vibes were high.
It was,
It was
like,
good.
It was
And
primo.
you walk in, you smell all that like Italian
Oh
sausage.
my
that's-
god, it was incredible. Yeah, like walking on the street, it just like hit us in the face. Yeah, it was truly an amazing experience.
I mean, you've been to Chicago before, but I mean, you know how to do it right.
Yeah.
When you come through town.
last time we were here, we went to Calumet Fisheries.
Oh, dude,
which was
you know
also
exactly what to
amazing.
do.
Good.
Yeah.
So is your philosophy, we're going to ask the locals where to go, because that's not a typical behavior for touring anything.
That's what we want to find.
Yeah, we live by that rule.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because like we live in a town that gets a lot of tourism, and
Sure.
I feel like a lot of tourists like miss out on some of the best things, and so yeah, we always are in the mindset of like,
Yeah, we'll text the homies days before and
Yeah,
be like,
well-
all right, where are we going before
what's
load
the dinner spot? Yeah,
That's the way to do it. I used to travel for work years ago, and my feeling was whenever I was in one of these towns, I want to do exactly that. Find all those places that the locals know, because I never know if I'm going to be back in those towns. So I want to be able to say, oh yeah, I was in Atlanta and I went to XYZ or wherever. Like that's what you got to do. Like don't rely on whatever's nearby, or oh, there's a Wendy's across the
Yeah.
street. Like
and in like the long van days and stuff, like you're so at the mercy of like, oh, there's a Panera Bread here and there's an Arby's here or whatever. Like, what's the choice? Like, everyone's
beef
starving.
and cheddar or soup in a bread
Yeah,
bowl. I don't know.
exactly.
Yeah.
You're so at the will of that. So whenever at the whim of like the universe in that way, that whenever we're in like an actual city, it's like
Yeah.
we want to like get the best thing we can get and like have the most fun that we can have. Because like that's what the whole point of us going on tour is to have fun and like, play music with our friends and eat delicious sandwiches.
I love that. Now, while you're on the road, do ideas hit when you're on the road, or do you kind of turn that switch off when you're playing every night?
I think it's more like a process of like you suck it all in and then you go into like the dark room and work on it. But it's like more
Yeah.
about experiences than like coming up with ideas at the time. But it all ends up in
It's like when I go to a flea market to buy comic books. I just grab whatever I can, and then I sort it out when I get home.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We're not really like writing on the road or anything like that. I mean, we'll like fine tune songs or like improv jams when we're on stage.
Improv
and
happens,
whatnot.
yeah. That's
but,
something that kind of jumps off in
But
different
yeah, I feel
directions.
like we kind of compartmentalize. Here's the writing process. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the recording process. Okay. Now we're touring. Now we're doing an album cycle. So
yeah. I feel like we need input to make output, and so like there's always like after you make a record, you feel like really drained of ideas and thoughts, and so then like going on tour and like reading books and seeing movies and seeing other bands play is kind of like the thing that like fills you back up to like make more art.
All right, so Bask, we're recording at Livewire Lounge. I want to thank Dave and the entire team at Livewire for the hospitality. We're in their swanky back patio.
it's very nice.
Very nice.
You'd never guess that there was a metal band with corpse paint like 20 feet away from us.
true.
You'd
That's
never
true.
know. The neighbors would never know.
Right.
So well done, Livewire Lounge. Bask, thank you very much. Can't wait to see you tonight, and keep on coming back. Next time you come through, I'll help send you some restaurant recommendations.
Please let
as
us
well.
know where the next spot
Always
is. Yeah,
and forever.
absolutely.